Have you ever been in a situation where you're speaking to someone, maybe your family member, one of your friends, or just like a random person, and then they say something and then it rubs someone else the wrong way? Like you've probably been in this 1,000 times in your life, right? What I wanted to talk about today is three different types of communication and which is why people get rubbed up the wrong way. Okay, so there's short communication, which is someone who would talk like in a wise metaphorical way, like a monk, for example, right? Short sentences, talks in parables, talks in metaphors, talks in like short stories that explain exactly what like the essence of what they're trying to convey, but nothing more. So this is like it opens you up for interpretation. It opens their story up, it opens their speech up for interpretation, right? The next one is under communicating. This is what the masses do, and they talk too much but don't explain anything like detailed enough. So this is like the person at the barbecue just chatting shit, small talk about some bullshit no one cares about, and then they say something off the cuff, but they don't have the communication skills to kind of explain their thought enough, and they rub someone else the wrong way, and they're just like, here's Steve, like, why did he say that? Like, because he's an idiot and he doesn't know how to explain himself properly, right? And the third is over communication. Now, this over communication is a form of short communication, but then it's over explained so that there's no confusion, like in the meaning and intent. So you got short communication, under communication, and over communication. What most people do is under communicate. They don't say anything wise, but they're just talking. Like on EastEnders, for example, you see that bullshit, just talk bullshit, right? No one gives a fuck. There's nothing like of depth there. There's nothing of worth. There's nothing of value to kind of learn from these people. And it's just like drama, that type of bullshit, type of conversation, right? Small talk, all that bullshit. If they say something now and they just don't over explain to themselves, to the person listening, that person can feel offended. That person can feel like there's a grudge against them, perhaps resentment builds, and then all of a sudden there's a like blow up in a relationship, or there's a breakdown of the relationship and they just don't get on anymore, and they just like can't resolve why, or they can't even explain why it happened because they don't have the insight, like, okay, I didn't over communicate enough, basically. So the ideal way of talking is either short communication or over communication. Now, short communication, that's cool for like coming across as wise, coming across as like a teacher, as a scholar, as someone who has wisdom and has like knowledge to impart. That's fantastic, and it makes people think, which is really good, and you become more revered that way. Like people respect you more, and people be like, wow, this guy is like really insightful. You say like less words, you control your mouth, and you like actually say less words, and people seem to respect you because what you're saying is not fluff. You're saying like all the words are potent, and it's down to the person listening to interpret it however they want, and they can gain many different meanings and many different perspectives out of it, right? That's fantastic. If you want to do that, that's cool. What I'm doing right now in this video, in this whole channel, is over communicating. So I give you a concept, which is three types of communication: short, under communication, short communication, under communication, and over communication. And then I go into detailed breakdown of each one so that none of my words can be misrepresented. I give you all the facts, all the stats, all the figures for everything what I'm saying, so that my message is completely like out of my mind and it's broken down in every single detail, so that there's no confusion in the meaning and intent of what I'm saying. And that is what, like, you can do either short or over communication to come across as like an intelligent person. Only the people, like the masses, who just don't do this and only under communicate, these are people who get problems. But if you only speak in short sentences and like short parabolic like type words, right, or phrases and stuff, you can't go wrong, because there's not enough like meat in the conversation for someone to get angry at. You're just saying like the pure, like potent words, intentful words of this sentence that you're saying, right? But the same can be said with this over communication. Like you're breaking down everything in detail so that there's no misunderstanding. So it just depends on which situation you want to like go for. Maybe if you're in a situation when you're in a rush, short communication. If you are in a situation where you've got time, like this YouTube video, or you're speaking to a younger brother or a younger sister, or like a family member, or someone who's like listening to you and wants to gain your knowledge, basically, this is where you would over communicate, which is what I'm doing right now. So little tip for you here: it can be used in various different situations. But what I've just said, like, if you have someone who like is listening to you every word and you need to kind of like clarify to them, then this is like the way to go, over communication. But if you're want them to think about it themselves critically, use their own brain, then that's where short communication comes in. Really, under communication, for the people that are watching this type of video, you don't ever need to use it, because it's only like it's basically small talk with like average people. You can obviously use it every now and then, like, but I don't know. When I speak to people, I'm always trying to gauge like some kind of gain some kind of insight into their life that can apply for my life, or can kind of help me out in some way. Like, that's what self-improvement is. You just go out into the world, you learn things, and apply it to your life in a way that kind of betters you. It could be anything. It could be learning from someone from like an oil rig truck driver, for example. And you, like, they just say something that resonates with you in some kind of way because you're open to your ears are open to, and then you connect with it. You're like, okay, I'm gonna put that on notes on my phone, and then all of a sudden that it gets integrated into your identity slightly. You see, so this is what you can do for the rest of your life. That is self-improvement. This is the 3 types of communication. So I hope that helps.